You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It is Thursday, October 20th, and we have another episode here for you today. Welcome. If you're listening on Amazon Music or watching on Amazon Prime Video, this is our first week, debut week on Amazon, so it feels really good.
Welcome, Amazonians. How you doing?
Adding another platform, just really good expansion, and it'll be good. There's a ton of viewers, ton of listeners over there that we are going to pick up, so pretty good day. And we have a lot of NFL to talk, so we're going to get into the first segment like normal, rant from Tim, and then finish that up with hits and misses. In the second segment, we're going to be reviewing kind of the big games from Week 6, the big stories, going through those, and then running through the rest of the action. And then in the third segment, like normal, we will predict Week 7 and do bets on a budget for Week 7 as well.
Just seems like I can't miss on predictions, so I mean, we're doing good. Swept this week. Feels good to go to 4-2.
Does it? I bet it does.
It does feel good. The Cowboys are also at 4-2. Of course, they dropped to 4-2 after losing to the Eagles. But I think watching last night was less about what happened on the field, more about what Dallas is as a whole, right? So I think Dak caught a break last night. Not even playing, I think Dak caught a break. Cooper Rush has been playing well, even though, we think Dak's better. There was like legitimate rumblings about a whole, QB controversy, all that, right? And I think Dak is pretty significantly better than Cooper Rush. Now, granted, I think within the scheme of the offense, I don't think the gap is massive. I think just purely talent, I think he's bigger, more athletic, moves a little bit better. I think he's got a little bit bigger of an arm. But, I don't think the gap is Mahomes to whoever his backup is, or Josh Allen to, I don't even know, Chad Henne now? I don't even know who their backup is. Doesn't matter. I think Dak's a top 15 quarterback, somewhere between 12 and 15 probably, but certainly good, right? But I said be careful when you pay him really great money, because he's kind of a really average guy, right? You see this with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, right? And I like Kirk Cousins, but when you pay him like he's Patrick Mahomes, but he's actually Kirk Cousins, that's when you get a problem, because now you can't surround him with the requisite pieces for him to succeed. And I think the same thing goes down. I think the roster is kind of thin. Right? I love the D-line. I think the backers with Van Der Esch and Parsons are pretty good. Trayvon Diggs is good on the back end. I don't really, trust anybody else outside of that. And outside of those units, I don't really love the team. I don't like the offensive line. I think the backs are kind of overrated. And outside of CeeDee Lamb, who is he throwing the ball to? They're kind of injury prone. I don't think the coach is very good. I know they're 4-2, and I do think they're a decent team. But right now, as it stands today, aren't they the third best roster in their own division? Even when Dak returns, it'd kind of be a toss-up with New York, I think. But I don't think they're coached to the level that New York is right now. I think Brian Daboll's an absolute home run. So I think I'd give the edge to the Giants. We got to be honest about the reality of what the Dallas Cowboys have become. They're the biggest brand. I know we got a lot of people listening to Dallas. It's time to come to terms. Right, we see this with the two biggest brands in the game, actually. The Packers and the Cowboys. We'll get to the Packers later. They beat up on inferior teams, most of them in their own division. It's kind of how it works, right? The Bears and the Lions and the Vikings for the Packers. And then obviously you'll get, the football team, the Commanders now, right? The Bears haven't been very good. The Bears in the wrong division. The Giants haven't been very good. Even Philly, outside of this last year, they kind of sucked for the last 4 years, right? When Carson Wentz was spiraling down the drain, right? Dak against winning teams, not even playoff teams, right? He's 18-24. 18-24. And here's an interesting stat. Against the winning teams, his passer rating dips by 15%. Right, so it's right there. It's right there in the numbers, right? The Giants, Commanders, Bears, right? Those are the three best teams that Dak is, according to pass rating. Those are his three most favorable opponents. The Giants, the Commanders, and the Bears. Yeah, because they've been historically really bad teams over the last about 10 years. They're awful. And he's 19-4 against them. 19-4. Now look at the ones where he's not quite as good. The Bills, the Patriots, the Colts, the Saints. No, the Jets are somehow in there, but the Dolphins. Right, those are like the 5 or 6 teams where he has the lowest passer rating against. Actually, in fact, some other teams in there, his 4 bottom, like very, very bottom, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Colts. That's who he's worst against. That's the reality of the Cowboys. Right, this is the exact same thing with the Packers, who are actually circling the drain right now. They just lost the Jets at home. Sauce Gardner disrespected them on their home field. Tough look. The Packers are 13-4 against the NFC North over the last 3 years. Well, let's look at those last 3 years against winning teams, or what I would deem playoff-level teams, right? Like, for example, the Chargers last year, and they missed it by like 2 plays against the Raiders, right? That's a playoff-level team. With 10-10 in the last 20 games against them in those 3 years. 10-10. Right now, I probably left off some games when I was counting it that you would consider, and then you probably think that I included some games, right? You maybe if you're looking at all, it evens out, right? They're about 500. No, I'm not Greg Cosell or some film junkie, right? Who's been doing it for 35 years. I can't tell you exactly 100% what's wrong with the franchises. But I think it starts from the top down. I think it does. Right? One doesn't even have an owner, which is kind of really weird, right? So in a way, Aaron kind of has too much power, but also he's not really the leader like a Brady or somebody that has the power and is okay with the power and does really constructive things with it. He's just kind of there. Okay, awesome. And then in Dallas, right, you have kind of the reverse. You have an overbearing, honestly, like I'm gonna say it, kind of like an idiot of an owner, where you're like, dude, why are you don't say that? Like, come on, man. Like Cooper Rush has one good game, comes out. There's a quarterback controversy with Cooper Rush and the guy I'm paying $45 million to. Like, we could probably go without that, right? We could probably just. Right, so that caused this stigma and this tension, right? And to be quite frank, I don't think the coach is very good, and I think Dak's talented enough to overcome it. I mean, that's the reality of these franchises. We can sit here and try to make excuses. This player was hurt, and Devontae Adams left. Well, Devontae Adams left because Aaron Rodgers took $50 million, and there's no money left. So, salary cap league, I can't help you. The Rams just pay everybody, so they can figure it out. Don't be like the Bears, who pay safety, linebacker, have a young quarterback, but still can't surround him with any pieces. I mean, that's the reality of those two organizations. One being the biggest brand, probably, the Packers, and one being the biggest market in Dallas. I mean, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. Whew, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I just pissed off the entire country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, though. It's okay, because half of them are bandwagons.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, so I mean, this week,
half of them won't be fans in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right, so this week, all those fans, they're probably going to root for, I don't know, like what, the Bills, the Jets, and the Chargers?
Maybe.
Because those are the teams that just won, right? I mean, it's a tough week for them, though, so I don't want to rip on them too much, right? Alabama lost. The Yankees are in a dogfight to a team that, is making, as a whole, like, the amount that Garrett Cole is in a year. So it's a tough week for those bandwagon fans. Yeah. The Warriors just had a fight, so it's been tough for them. Great. We'll kind of let them settle down a little bit. Yeah. Sorry to kind of come at their throat, kick them when they're down.
No, I mean,
but they're an easy target.
But
so
sometimes it's warranted too. I mean, look, when you're I think sometimes, it's tough to say this about Green Bay because they don't have an owner, and that I think brings more problems in itself, just because it's going to take so long for things to get done. You don't have one person that you can go to, the head guy, and say, hey, I need you to make a decision. And then in the case of Dallas, I mean, did he forget that he's owning an NFL team and not a baseball team? Like, you can't pay Zeke that huge contract, and you can't pay Dak that huge contract and think you're still going to have money to throw around. It's not like where you can just throw hundreds of millions of dollars at somebody like an Aaron Judge and then still have hundreds of millions of dollars to throw at other big pieces.
Because you're a billionaire, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right, and you can't do that in the NFL because there's a cap. I mean, it's going back to, so it had to have been a dream come true for some of these fans when Eddie Lacy went from Alabama right to Green Bay. I mean, they had to have been.
That would have been.
Would that have been sensory overload for some of these fans?
That's prime bandwagon. If you can go from Alabama to Green Bay or Alabama to Dallas, any one of those.
I mean, Trayvon Diggs, even
when
Alabama
the Chiefs
to
got
Dallas.
hot there, the Chiefs got a lot of them too for a little bit.
Yeah, the Chiefs. Here's the thing: they feel too like small town to me. I feel like the actual Chiefs fans really do a good job of kind of pushing the other ones to the side.
Oh, or I got the perfect one. Zeke is a great example. Ohio State to Dallas.
Could it get any more? I mean,
Dude was
seriously.
prime marketable.
These are the people with Ohio State. You know how you can put that stake in the ground and hang the flag off it right in the front lawn there?
Yeah.
That's the one where they have two of them, right? And it's like Ohio State and like the Yankees or something like that. And you're like, where are you from? Where are you from?
Big block letter O on the back of the car.
Yeah,
for no
like
reason.
where are you from? Like, are your parents from there? What is going on, man? I don't know.
Always have some story about a cousin that was distant in New York.
No.
I've been a Yankees fan since I was 2.5.
My uncle got drafted by them, so that's just kind of what it is.
Either way, let's get into some hits and misses. Go over where we were right and wrong this week.
All right, let's go. Hit number 1. We said we kind of nailed the NFC North. We kind of crushed it.
Yeah, we did.
Especially the top right now. So the Lions are technically at the bottom, and then the Bears are the second to last. I think by the end of the season we'll see the Lions. Flip. I think it'll flip. And we called the Vikings being pretty legit and the Packers being pretty mediocre, and we've seen that so far.
Yes.
The Vikings have a better offense. They have better weapons. I think right now they have a more clever head coach, too. I know everyone loves Matt LaFleur, and I think he's fine. But I think Kevin O'Connell's a younger, more progressive offensive coach. I think you're seeing it with Kirk Cousins. You're seeing it with Justin Jefferson. They need to run the ball a little bit more, but even then, Dalvin Cook ripped off, 60-some yards to the hizzy? I mean, I'm telling you. The Vikings are legit, and we nailed it. We've been on it since day one.
Yeah, it kind of gave like a warning list almost to look at for Green Bay and the different things that can go wrong. And the things that we pointed out are the things that seem to be plaguing them right now, right? Not having a clear-cut number one target. Aaron Rodgers seems to get flustered really easy when they start to get down. Like, he's still not playing well from behind. We've never really seen him play well from behind. And it looks choppy in Green Bay for like the first time. And obviously, yes, Devontae Adams left, and that's a huge reason to why.
I agree. All right, miss number 1. We're usually rock solid on betting, especially last year. Can't seem to figure it out this year. We're 1-5. We can't seem to get it on track. Here's the thing, though. The league's never been crazier, and betting has never been tougher. The stats have shown. Across the country, not just here.
Yeah.
Maybe we simplify it and do a little bit more money line than spread, but we will get back on track. So we're 1-5. Sucks to suck. Hey, here's the thing: we can't bury our head, and just mail it in. We still have plenty of time to turn this thing around. We can get back above 500.
Absolutely.
By the end of the season. So trust us. We're gonna hope to do that. We'll see how it goes. But so far, it's been a tough year for us.
Stats.
College football, though, has been pretty good for us. We just don't do a whole lot of it on here. But, on the side, we've been okay. So, hey.
Yeah, on the side.
I promise we're not all bad.
I almost had a nice little parlay that hit on Sunday.
Yeah, but it didn't, so that sucks.
It didn't. It was so close.
And the lock of it didn't hit. That's what hurts.
Travis Kelce catching a touchdown. Like, how does that not
so
happen?
My buddy put in not you, somebody else put in a...
That'd be weird to refer to me like that here.
Yeah, no, that would not. Put in a Justin Herbert over like a touchdown and a half, and that was like the only leg of like a 13-leg parlay that didn't hit. It was going to net him a couple grand.
That's a tough one.
And like, when does Herbert not score a couple tutties? Almost never. He didn't even score one. He almost never does that. So prayers out to him as well.
Bad week.
Hit number 2. We said the Browns it's a common theme. The Browns are going to brown. And I said whenever they decided to give Deshaun Watson that much money and give up that much draft capital to get him, that's fine. But he's going to be a crystal chandelier in a warehouse. With that cap hit, you give away all that draft capital, which means you got to start hitting on 4th and 5th round picks to surround him because you can't go out and get the talent with free agency because you don't have the money to.
But Cleveland has never proved that they can do that in the 4th and 5th round to go find a gem.
Absolutely not. And here's the thing: they started talking. Oh well, Lamar deserves a fully guaranteed because Deshaun got it from Cleveland. Well, when have we ever let Cleveland dictate our business decisions? That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. That'd be saying like, hey, as we all go towards tech and shopping online, let's follow everything Macy's does.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible idea. That's
like how to go bankrupt 101.
Yeah, it'd be like, let's do everything Amazon does. And you're like, that's a great idea. So it's like, why would we do that with the Browns? So, and we said this when they did it. It's not a good decision, and the Browns are always going to brown. They're always going to find a way to brown.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And it's going to be really tough working their way out of the hole they've created for themselves now. But on the Lamar end a little bit, personally, I don't think I would guarantee that type of money to that style of play for a quarterback. Since when has that ever Since when have we seen longevity with that? That's all I'm saying. I would definitely pay Lamar. I just don't know if I would guarantee it.
Now, granted, if he came out and said, "How about 3 years fully guaranteed?" I'd have to think about it.
I'd
have to think about it.
I would
think
do
for
max 3 years, but I wouldn't guarantee anything over 3.
Right, because here's the thing: with 3 years, like I can almost I feel really, really good about him being super solid for the next 3 years. You'll probably win the division once or twice out of those 3. You'll be in the playoffs probably all 3.
Right, but you're facing
going to be
damn
competitive.
good D-line in Cleveland and Pittsburgh twice a year, so 4 times a year. You're seeing 2 of the top D-lines.
And I would say Cincinnati's is underrated. No, I agree, but for 3 years, I think he'll be fine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying I would not fully guarantee anything like long term with him.
It would keep me up at night as well. Miss number 2 here. At bare minimum, we expected the Panthers to at least be scrappy, right? I think we said that they'd be the scrappiest 5-win team.
No, not so much.
Unless they turn around in some major way, that's a big miss for us. I mean,
if they lose now,
they've got to be the worst team in the league.
They've got now noise in the organization.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson's yelling at coaches on the sideline. They traded him almost immediately.
Yeah, the Cardinals picked him right up, huh?
Which
I guess they're looking for targets for Kyler.
Here's the thing: Hollywood Brown, high ankle sprain. He's probably gonna be out almost 4 weeks. So I mean, he'll serve a purpose
nice
for a
supplement.
little bit.
Well, plus they have D-Hop coming back.
D-Hop comes back this week. Yeah,
I got him on my fantasy bench. He's been sitting there waiting to go.
You pumped?
I'm pumped.
Hit number 3. We've kind of dogged on the Bears for a year or so. I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think if you could write a textbook on how to ruin a young quarterback, they're checking pretty much every damn box. I don't know what to say. I mean, this organization they've done a pretty bad job.
Yeah.
And so if you want to pay a safety, that's fine. So does Pittsburgh. But they also pay the important positions like edge rusher. Deontay just got an extension. They went out and spent some decent money on the offensive line. And I don't even think Pittsburgh's doing a great job, but they're at least not murdering their chances.
No, yeah,
I mean, the Bears are doing everything you don't want to do. Let's overpay at undervalued defensive positions. Let's get rid of our best wide receiver because we can't afford them, but we're still not paying anybody, so we don't understand how we can't afford them. Let's get rid of some offensive linemen. Let's hire a defensive head coach. Let's relish the past and make sure that he can never live up to Vince McMahon and the '80s Bears, who Vince McMahon sucked and was dragged by a defense. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Unrealistic expectations. I think the coach is fine, at least defensively, but for a young quarterback, I'd prefer an offensive coach or a stud play caller. It doesn't appear they have either.
No, they don't.
They don't have any weapons. The line is piss poor. I mean, they got nobody on defense outside of one safety and a linebacker, which we know are not very valuable positions. What are they doing? It doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
And finally, miss number 3. Luke falls to 2-4 here. In the predictions, I have now risen back up to my 2-game lead. Now, granted, I lost it in just 2 weeks last time I had it, so we'll see.
This one's
There's
been
still hope for you.
streaky this season.
It's
2 and
been
then
streaky.
2 and then 2.
It's definitely been streaky. I struck first. I'm hoping that over the 17-game season that it bodes well for me with the streakiness.
I mean, it's still tight. We still got a long way to go.
A long way to go, but I am 4-2. It feels good. I would just like to thank my parents. I'm just kidding.
You can give the speech at the end of the year.
The speech at the end of the year. We'll see. No, that's about all we have for hits and misses. I just want to really drill it back in. Just to bother the Browns fans that they are always going to Brown. Just had to throw that back in there.
It's always good. It's a good day when we can throw that into the hits and misses, I will say.
It is a good day. Make sure you come back for the second segment. Luke will actually have to wear said tiara, and we will kind of review some of the bigger games of the week and kind of just review week 6 as a whole, so don't go anywhere. Check. 1, 2. All right, we're good. We're up. We're working. Second segment, the issue, Thursday the 20th. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate you guys listening. We had rant, hits and misses in the first segment. In case you missed it, go back, check it out. There's also probably a standalone video. I don't know. He's the edit guy.
There will definitely be standalone videos.
I'm just the artwork, I guess. I don't know. I just sit here. And then in the third segment, we'll have our predictions and bets on a budget per usual. Kind of the basic setup of our NFL shows because, that's what works.
Hey, go check out theissuesports.com too. A lot of good stuff over there. website is updated all the time, so you can keep up with everything we're doing here on the show. New videos that are posting, rants that Tim has had, different discussions that we've had. I know we put that one up there about roughing the passer this past week, so that one was good. And we will also have merchandise products coming to the store soon.
That's exciting. That's exciting. You guys can
rep 1 or 2 weeks out.
Actually, I think we got a shirt similar to that.
Yep.
Actually, it might be the same shirt, at least on the front, and kind of similar to the ones that you kind of see us wearing. We'll have some similar stuff in the shop for you guys, so that'll be cool.
No, yeah, and then obviously more stuff to come before, I guess, the holidays. We'll have a big announcement. So things are growing here on the show. I mean, we're just finding a new audience every week, and things seem to be looking up. But a great week of football. So week 6 was crazy. We had kind of a lot of big headlines. The Steelers somehow pull it out against the Buccaneers. That's a big one that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's just start there then. So obviously, if Kenny Pickett starts pretty well, he looked really, really good in the first half. He played about the first half of that game. Obviously goes out. He's in concussion protocol. I think he'll end up being fine. I don't think the hit was too crazy. Now, granted, I'm not there. I've never taken a hit from a defensive lineman, so what do I know? But compared to a lot of other NFL hits, I think he'll be fine. But here's what's good. Mitch Trubisky came in, held down the fort. And I will say people want to, overhype it. Look, the biggest play, that 45-yard play down the middle, was a blown coverage, which is fine. He was able to take advantage of it, and that's what Mitch Trubisky can do. He can hit the open guy, blown coverage, good scheme. If there's somebody open, he will 100% deliver the football to the open guy. I worry about him having a dynamic arm, moving outside the pocket, being able to push the ball downfield consistently, throwing people open. It's not, can Mitch Trubisky get the open guy? Of course he can. The third string quarterback on the worst NFL team can do that.
Yeah.
But it's the extra stuff that Kenny brings that Mitch doesn't. But it's not, rip on Mitch Trubisky time because he got us a win. Looked pretty decent. What'd you think of Brady absolutely reaming his teammates on the sideline?
I mean, that got a lot of attention from the game and the media in general during it happening. You could kind of feel it breaking down on that sideline a little bit, and I mean they just weren't ready for the Steelers' pass rush, is what I think, and especially missing T.J. Watt. I mean everybody stepped up. Alex Highsmith played great. He's now leading the NFL.
Leads the NFL. That's crazy to me. He's fantastic.
He played really well. That offensive line deteriorated, and then Brady screaming like that. I mean, there's a difference between motivating and just absolutely tearing apart your guys.
Right.
There's constructive, I guess, motivation.
Constructive yelling, I guess?
Yeah.
Well, so
that was not a situation of that. The big thing that stands out to me about the whole thing is Brady wasn't even with the team, leading up to that game.
Right, that's what people are upset because he went to a wedding on, Friday, and then missed the Saturday team morning, got there by Saturday, afternoon,
yeah, he took his own private jet. He didn't fly with the team.
I get it. I get how that can be upsetting, and I think, honestly, if they win the game, nobody's even talking about it. It doesn't even matter. But they lost. So that's why it's a story. If they win the game, nobody even talks about it.
But Brady has never been one of those guys that gives you a story to talk about. He would, early in his career, you would never see something like this from Tom. I don't know what's happening. He's being a little mysterious this season. It's different.
He's got some personal things going on. So, yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And whenever you've won 7 Super Bowls and you're in year, 22?
Yeah.
You got a little bit of leeway. You know what I mean?
You take a little off.
I mean, look, you're I don't know, an accountant for J.P. Morgan. And you're damn good at it, right? Like Tom is. You are the best one ever, actually. Yeah, I'm thinking in year 22 after I don't even know. I don't know what accounts do. After you've had the best books or whatever, I don't know. You're the business guy, but after you've had the best books for 22 years, and you've won Accountant of the Year at J.P. Morgan 7 times.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah,
Overall, I think
it's only week 6, so it's early. It's not like he's taking off, playoff games, and he's taking off the Friday before a playoff game, right? You don't see the account taken off right before, the end of the fiscal year. That doesn't happen, right? But you could take one off in August. You'd be all right. Take a week off in August.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what Tom. I think that's what Tom was doing. I don't have a huge problem with it, but I can see how some people would.
Well, the only thing one of the big things from this game that I think needs to be talked about is that the Steelers are by no means a good team that can compete down the stretch. Because there's going to be, I've already seen it, especially from Pittsburgh media, of just, well, don't count the Steelers out yet. I'm already counting them out.
Oh, they've been counted out.
They've been counted out since this first kickoff of the season. It hasn't looked good. They can't move anything on offense still.
Look, I mean, these things, this kind of stuff, I guess, like, happens, right? Like, it's the NFL. Like, every now and then, a bad team's going to beat a good team.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. I still don't think the Steelers are a fantastic team. How about the two heavyweights, the Chiefs and the Bills? So the Bills end up squeaking it out. They win by 4, exactly like Tony Romo predicted. He goes, it's going to be a 24-20 type of game. Oh, is it, Tony? Is it? Thanks. He's always right, and I love him. But it's almost to a point where I get frustrated how right he is. I can't even pick winners of football games for my audience. I can't even get spreads right. And Tony Romo was out here predicting the score of the game in the middle of the game. Like, come on.
He'll call the next play before it even happens. You did that a few times when we were watching on Sunday, but not to the level of consistency of that guy.
No, but so the actual takeaways from the game, my takeaways are both these teams are so good. I didn't leave this game thinking, oh, the Chiefs, man, they're in trouble. And I also didn't leave the game thinking, wow, the Bills are so head and shoulders better than the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. It's a coin flip type of game. It's always going to come down to kind of who has the ball last. What's the last possession look like? What does the last 6 minutes look like?
And my biggest takeaway is, wow, Josh Allen is special. The play where he breaks somebody's ankles and then continues and jumps over a defender and then still picks up an extra 5 or 6. He is, I would say, the most electric quarterback in the league. When he's fully on, I'll take him over Patrick Mahomes personally. I like Josh Allen that much. I mean, a 6'6" frame like that, 6'5", whatever he is,
moving like that,
you should not be able to do that.
No,
you shouldn't be able to do that at 200 and whatever, 35 pounds, whatever he is.
Yeah, and they get back in the huddle and throw a dart like the next play. You just don't see that. That's a rare breed. I will say that might be my biggest takeaway. Right? I said, they're very, very equal. It's a coin flip type of game. I did come away thinking, though, damn, Josh Allen might be the best quarterback in the game. Like, definitely, I don't think it's much of a debate that he's the most physically talented.
Now, there's trade rumors that Saquon could be on the move.
I don't think they're going to get rid of Saquon. Now, I think Christian McCaffrey, now that's interesting.
You add a run game to that Bills offense.
It's dangerous.
Very.
All right, how about the Cowboys and Eagles? So Cooper Rush throws, 3 picks? Eagles, of course, at home dominate. So here's the thing. The Eagles, probably 2 of their tougher games, right? Cowboys, and then Minnesota, they get in prime time at home, right? And that's a tough spot for anybody to come in and win. So I think the Eagles get a little bit of a break here, having some of their tougher games in prime time. But that kind of went exactly how I expected it. Yeah, the Eagles are going to run the football. They're going to be really, really good up front. The Cowboys are going to push back a little bit because they do have a good defense. But at the end of the day, the Eagles they're too talented of a football team.
Now, the Eagles did make some mistakes, and then that screamed to me, I'm not sure if they're a top tier playoff team out of the NFC. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're really good, and I think they have the potential to be. But from this game, especially against the Cowboys roster with a backup quarterback like that, you should be able to dominate a little bit more and hold on to a lead. They didn't play all that well throughout the second half.
They did not. The third quarter was bad. I don't think they scored a point in the third quarter.
I don't think so.
If I remember correctly. Either way, I know for a fact their second half was bad. They were up 20 to 3 at halftime, I think.
And you should not be letting Dallas climb back like that.
Yeah, that was tough. But at the end of the day, a win's a win in the NFL, so they'll take it. Okay, Broncos and Chargers real quick. From the Monday Night Football game, here's what was good. The Broncos found it a little bit in the first half. That was promising to see. Ross started, 10 for 10 with a touchdown or something like that. Here's the problem, though. After that first set of scripted plays, because you're going to script the first probably 2 to 3 drives.
Off a cliff.
He went 5 for 16 the rest of the game. You got to be able to make stuff happen. You got to be able to make adjustments. And to me, that speaks to coaching. Right? That speaks to the offensive coordinator up in the box, the head coach down the field seeing it. You're talking, you're scheming at halftime. You got to be able to make an adjustment. You have to. The NFL is too smart for you to come in with a game plan and just run that the whole game.
So is this a situation where you give more power to Russ to say, hey, you're the veteran, you've been in these situations, you make the call, or do you kind of still rely on that?
Well, I wouldn't say he calls the game, but I would say that he has more audible power. And I'm not sure, maybe that's good or bad, but I think it's worth a shot. Like
If you increase that a little bit.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, what they did poorly was they stuck too heavily to their game plan as opposed to seeing what the defense is giving them and adjusting from there.
But then they have to execute those game plans, and I'm just not sure if Russ is at that point where he's going to continue to execute consistently.
I don't know, man. He made some nice plays outside the pocket. He was moving around. He was shifting. I think, though, he's not quite as shifty as he once was, so he can make the first couple people miss, but then he holds it a hair too long.
He is holding onto the ball a little bit longer.
I don't know. All right, let's kind of transition here and get to the rest of week 6. So it kind of helps me. I'm OCD. To kind of go in chronological order. So let's start with the Thursday night game. Exactly 1 week ago today, where I lost about 3.5 hours of my life that I'll never get back.
That was a horrible game.
So generally, thank God Playoff Baseball's on, first of all, because that was on, not this game. Now, we had it on, like, we had a little stream on the iPad kind of off to the side, no sound, just peeking at it every once in a while, but all I saw was just putrid offenses, no creativity, running the ball right into the line of scrimmage, poor accuracy from the quarterbacks, bad decision-making, drops everywhere. I will say, here's the good thing in Chicago, right? I know first segment I kind of ripped on them, and I don't think they're doing a good job. Here's the good news, though. They have the defense at least somewhat figured out, right? Which you should. You're paying a lot of money on your defense, and you need to hire a defensive coach. So it should be figured out. The worst case scenario would be to pay a lot of money, still have a really bad offense, and have a bad defense. That would be worst case scenario. So I guess it could theoretically be worse for them right now in the present moment. But not by much. They're still not a good football team, and neither's Washington either. But
it's just
there's just a lack of talent in this game. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, we're on Amazon now. We might have some leveraging power in this. I'm not sure how much, but we should get Amazon Prime to refund everybody that had to pay to watch that game on Amazon Prime because that was just absolutely horrific scheduling by the NFL to fill up a primetime slot.
I was just going to say maybe everyone gets a rebate, but I don't even know if they still do rebates anymore. Does anyone still get mail?
I haven't heard that since
does mail still exist? Okay, anyway.
It does.
All right, how about the 49ers or the Falcons? The Falcons get the upset win by 2 touchdowns, too.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was like 21-14 till the very end. Falcons kind of got a late touchdown. But they jumped out to like a 14-0 lead. They kind of held on to it. Here's the thing about the Niners. When you're missing 11 of your 22 starters, that's what happens, right? This is the NFL. So the Falcons, I mean, we might not love their roster. We might think they're pretty limited.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if they're going to face a team with 11 backups, they're going to win that game 8 to 9 times out of 10.
I mean, they're still an NFL team.
It's still an NFL team, right? And I actually do like what Arthur Smith is doing. Here's the nice thing about like mic'd up on the sideline, stuff like that, like Hard Knocks being mic'd up, like NFL sounds.
Yeah.
You get to hear what the coaches are thinking, and I think it tells me a lot about the coach's demeanor, right? So there's a clip of Arthur Smith where he's like, hey, where's, and it's his big bruising back, Huntley, I believe his name is. Hey, where's Huntley? Get him some water. We're about to run the piss out of the football. You know what I mean? Like, he's on the headset telling everybody, he's on the sidelines, hey, get ready, gear up. Buckle your chin strap. Let's go. This drive, we are going to run it down their throat.
Like we're going.
Right, now, granted, that was
and we're firing off.
That was, I think, a week or 2 ago. But my point is, like, they play hard for him, and I think they have an identity with him.
Do you like?
They're going to run the ball. Mariota's going to be tricky.
Do you like Mariota?
I've always liked Mariota. I think as a talent, he's always been.
I know you
at
liked
least
him
good
in college.
Enough. Yeah, and I actually had a jersey, Mariota jersey back in the day, but. As a talent, I think he's always been fine. It's been the consistency and it's been the injuries that have been his problem because he does move around. He can get hurt a little bit. Right. But I think he's been a solid NFL quarterback and he's been really good this year. All right, how about the Vikings going down to Miami? I thought it could be a potential, little trap game in the heat down there. You saw on their sideline, it was like 110 on the Vikings sideline. So I thought that might become a problem for them.
A little shock, yeah.
Yeah, it might become a problem for them. But what they were able to do is run the football, kind of slow the game down a little bit. Play their tempo. I think they could run the ball better, but they were able to do it effectively enough. And then, of course, you got Justin Jefferson, who's a stud. So, yeah.
He's pretty sure a lock going into every single game for you.
Right. And I don't take too much, from this game against the Dolphins. I think once they get Tua back and once they get a little healthier, they're missing a guy up front, one of their wide receivers, Tua, a couple guys on defense. So I think once they get everybody back, they'll be just fine.
Yeah, you can't have way too many things up in the air right now.
Yeah, and they're on a collision course for exactly what they thought they would be. 8-9, 9-8, fighting for a playoff spot.
And hey, so many people ripped us for that prediction too.
And look, they started out hot, and I still think they're a good football team. They're talented. They're going to be in a lot of football games, but they're on a collision course for right about what we thought, 9-8, fighting for a playoff spot. What about the Jets at the Packers? The Jets. So here's the good news for the Jets, which obviously they won. Well, they won, yeah. They won by 17, so that's good news. Even better news, they didn't even play that well. They had like 11 first downs. They only threw for 99 yards. They weren't very good on third down.
But their defense,
and they won by 17 points in Lambeau.
Their defense and special teams ran that game.
So what does that tell you about Green Bay? You have the Jets, who have been historically bad, don't really know how to win yet. Young head coach, young quarterback, a very young roster, barely know how to win. You know, they're not super dynamic. You hold them to under 100 passing yards. They are bad on third down. They don't get that many first downs. They're not moving the chains like an absolute unit of an offense.
And you lose
by 3 scores.
I mean, it doesn't look good for Green Bay.
That is bad.
There are some glaring issues, yes.
They are down bad in Green Bay too, as the kids say nowadays,
as the kids say, yeah.
Man, okay, I am a kid, so I mean, like, no, I'm not a kid, but I still feel like, as compared to the old dad jokes, we're kids compared to that. So I don't know how I feel about what I just said. All right, how about the Cardinals at the Seahawks? The Seahawks get the win, 19-9. One of the splits, kind of hit on that one, just to pat myself on the back a little bit there. Here's the thing. Oh, also the Jets on the spread. Oh, yeah, there you go. The Jets on the spread, I also hit that. That was one of the bets as well. I had Jets plus, I think, 7 or 8 or something like that, and of course they covered and won. I had the Seahawks beating the Cardinals. Look, I said at home, Geno Smith can move the sticks a little bit, and as much as I don't think Seattle's defense is that loaded, I think they overpay at safety, and they don't get that great of a pass rush. They've been pretty effective, and obviously Arizona's had their offensive struggles, but Seattle's been pretty effective on defense. I figured at home they'd get a win, and of course they did.
I mean, I was upset.
Is that all you have to say? Is that
I thought I had something going with Kyler and the Cards on that game, but I mean, nothing really came to fruition. We were watching that game, and just the whole time they got down and they just never got back up.
Yeah.
And
they don't got that dog in them.
No, they don't. Not like J Herb does.
No, J Herb. We'll get to him later. All right, Panthers at the Rams. Rams win 24-10. Panthers can't score an offensive touchdown. Not much else to be said. They are easily the worst team in the league. Bengals at the Saints. Now, that was probably one of the most interesting games of the day. Bengals down early, down most of the game. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow just go off in the second half. They're starting to look a lot like the Bengals of the late season last year, the late playoff push and the playoff run, where start a little bit slow, but at the end of the day, they're dynamic. Their defense steps up. They've allowed 0 touchdowns in the second half of a football game this year. That's incredible. So, yeah, I mean, that's an impressive win. They're kind of getting back to form. I
mean, you knew it was going to come soon. It's Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. They're bound to pop, and they finally did.
Too talented to not, yeah.
And I think the rest of the season is going to be dangerous for anybody that plays them.
The Patriots at the Browns. The Browns are going to brown. Another one that we were split on. I took the Patriots, you took the Browns. At the end of the day, the Patriots are going to be able to run the football. Bailey Zappi is pretty talented. He's going to get the ball out. He's going to get it to where it needs to go. Bill shows that he still has it to go out there and coach teams to victory, and he did once again. Ravens at the Giants. We actually had the Ravens in our bets on a budget, but the Giants, they went 24-20. Look, I will say the defensive front is legit, and Saquon Barkley is legit. I don't know about a whole lot else, but if you win in the trenches and you win with the run game, you're going to win a lot of football games, and that's exactly what was the difference here. I mean, the strip sack to end it, the turnovers in the last 2 possessions for the Ravens were turnovers because of the Giants. I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive.
It is. It's something that, they're finally trending up, and it's a good thing for the league, I think, when a market like that's doing well.
I like to watch them. I think I like Brian Daboll a lot, too, so I enjoy watching their games.
And their run game is just
yeah,
sweet.
Saquon's fantastic.
I'm so glad he's kind of back to where he should be. I was excited. I was so excited to watch him in the NFL when he was coming up through college, and now finally he's getting this season, it seems like, where he's not going to get hurt.
Right, speaking of college, I was watching some film of that game against Ohio State where he takes the opening kickoff to the hizzy.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, yeah, kind of brings me back to those times, and I like it. All right, Jaguars at the Colts. The Colts win with a late touchdown to rookie Alec Pierce up the sideline. Jags fall to 2-4. They kind of, had a little bit of a decent start there at the beginning, but they've kind of fallen off since. We'll see if they can kind of get it back together. The Colts actually finally put up some points. Good for them. Bills to the Chiefs, we kind of talked about that. That was a crazy game. Same with the Cowboys and Eagles. Kind of same with the Broncos and Chargers. But just to kind of talk about the Broncos and Chargers again, Justin Herbert is really, really good. Now, he did have the one pick. It was a tip ball. Was it a ball he probably should have thrown to begin with? Probably not, but it was tipped. It's not like he threw it right to somebody.
His stat line does not reflect the level of play that went into this game.
Right. The gutsiness of some of his performances. It's almost like when you see a pitcher and they're in like the third inning and they've kind of gotten hit around a little bit, but they've only let up one run. And their stuff isn't really there, yet you look up in the seventh inning and you're like, wow.
And they're still hanging around.
Yeah, they've only let up 2 runs. They've kind of stayed off some barrels now. They've retired their last 7. They're kind of starting to get into a groove a little bit.
Gotten in a couple jams, but kind of worked their way out.
Working their way out of it. Gave their team a chance to win. When you don't have your A game and you're still able to give your team a chance to win, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's Justin Herbert.
That's the epitome of Justin Herbert. I thought Garrett Cole, actually, to kind of segue a little bit, was kind of like that in Game 4 against the Guardians, where he didn't really have it. Gave up 2 runs. Gave up the big home run to Naylor.
But man, he was good.
But he settled in,
overall.
Still had some decent stuff. So Justin Herbert is that guy. And so am I, because I keep winning predictions. So come back next segment. We will have our predictions for Week 7. I look to go to 5-2 and take a 3-game lead, so don't go anywhere.
What's up? We are back. It is the 3rd segment on Thursday, October 20th, almost through the month of October into November, which is crazy. We only have, 1 or 2 more episodes left in October? I don't know. Not good with quick math. I think we got 31 days in October. That's 11 days left. Episode comes out every 7 days. We got one more episode in October.
Yeah, one more after this one.
And then we will be into November football, and things get stepped up a little bit. But no, otherwise, go check out the TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms. You can find them all with the link tree in the description of the episode. You can also go to the website and find everything from there as well. That link is below as well.
There is a Hendon Hooker review, the Tennessee quarterback, little film study, right? Watching him kind of dissect Alabama a little bit. Yep. So I'll kind of give you my thoughts, some of the good, some of the bad, and go check it out. Get a little info about some college quarterbacks.
And that video will be featured on theissuesports.com, so you can go check it out there too.
All right, so let's get into predictions. Again, I'm OCD, so we'll start in order. We'll start with the Thursday night game, obviously tonight, because if you're going to watch it tonight,
it makes sense.
What else?
You don't
want
to wait till the end of the video to get a Thursday night prediction.
Right.
So
all right, so let's go Saints at the Cardinals. We're actually split on this one to start. You're going to go with the Cardinals at home to kind of figure out their offense a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Saints. So they're going to get Marshawn Lattimore back at DB, they think. I want to say Michael Thomas might get healthy. It's going to be up in the air. I think it's a game time decision for Thomas and Landry. I believe they're actually doubtful though. But either way, I still feel pretty confident in the Saints as a defense, as a unit. I think they're a better franchise, a more stable franchise right now than Arizona. So I think that's going to kind of come out to play here on prime time.
I just think the atmosphere around the team in Arizona is going to be so much better than it has for the previous couple of weeks. You get D-Hop back, so now you have a really good piece for Kyler Murray to throw to when he's scrambling. That's the biggest thing right now. He wants to throw the football.
Right.
You can see it.
He's looking down the field.
He's throwing first.
Right.
That's the great thing about him. He has the legs, and he can get away, and he can make something happen with his feet, but he's always eyes downfield looking to throw first.
Right.
Now he's going to get his number one target back. Yeah. I just feel like this is one of those games. It's just kind of a gut thing, but I like Arizona a lot.
That's fair. All right, let's go with the Packers at the Commanders in Washington. I think we're both going to go ahead and take the Packers here. So here's the thing. I went back and forth, but people are going to kind of overreact to the Packers losing to the Jets. I think the Jets are a significantly better football team than the Commanders. I think the Commanders are really, really weak. And Wentz is now out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
I want to say, was it a foot or a thumb?
It was a finger.
Was it a finger?
A broken finger.
Yep. So then I think Taylor Heineke's going to start, and I don't mind Taylor Heineke, but at the end of the day, he's a backup. And so, over the next 5 games, if he can win you 2, then you'll clap your hands, you'll take that, good to go.
It's not always a Cooper Rush situation where they just come in and win.
But but not against Green Bay. Like, I think at some point, Green Bay, we've seen them get up off the mat before, right? They get crushed in the opener, come back out and crush. So and they do rebound really well against bad teams, right? You see them, they'll get waxed by Minnesota, they'll turn around, and they'll absolutely demolish the Bears. Like,
This is the week, I would think, for
right. It's going to be classic.
Green Bay.
It's classic Green Bay. All right, let's go with the the Buccaneers at the Panthers. The Buckers. Okay. Yeah, they're going to win that. The Panthers are awful.
Yeah,
PJ Walker didn't complete a single pass across the line of scrimmage. I mean, did not complete a pass that went forward in any manner.
And they can't get the running game going either, really. So
it's bad. It's bad. The Bucs.
They have a couple issues down there in Carolina, I would say.
Falcons at the Bengals. So, I mean, the Falcons are probably going to be a little bit overvalued here. People are going to hype them up. But I do think they're going to keep it close. They're 6 against the spread. We'll get to that later with bets on a budget. Hint, they're in it and, could be for them. I do have a rule against not betting for the Falcons, so maybe it's against them. We'll see. But I think for whoever's going to win the game, primarily winning the game, the Bengals. The Bengals are the better team. They're kind of rounding back into that form where they're a little bit more explosive on offense. They bend but don't break on defense. That's kind of their formula, and I think they're kind of getting back into that form, being at home too.
And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are finally on that page again, where they're going to connect on most of their throws,
right.
and Jamar is going to get open on, virtually everything. He's so talented. So yeah, Bengals here, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'll go with the Giants at the Jaguars. So the Jags are actually favored by 3 here. Kind of bold considering the Giants have been hot. They're 5-1. They're second in the NFC East there.
Giants. I like the Giants.
Yeah. I think. They're better in the trenches. They're better in the trenches.
Yes, their offensive line is better. I mean, it's not a great offensive line, but it's
better than Jacksonville, and
they clear the way for Saquon.
Yeah,
and I think that's really all it comes down to. I don't think the Giants' offense as a whole really revolves around who's at quarterback.
It definitely does not. It does not, which is crazy because Brian Dable took Josh Allen, right? That offense. That's what you kind of expected him to bring. High flying quarterback's going to sling it around the yard. Yep. But he said, nope, that's just not the personnel I have. We're going to adjust.
Which shows the
damn
skill
good
of
coaching.
him. It
that's
shows
damn
his
good
skill.
coaching.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to ride with the good coaching there. Brian Dable, the Giants to beat the Jags at Jacksonville. Chiefs at 49ers. So we kind of we had to stew this over. But at the end of the day, I think the Niners are missing too many pieces. Point blank, I just don't think they have enough healthy people. And the Chiefs, and especially Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, off of a loss, have been fantastic. And most good teams and great coaches are. So coming off a loss, I'll take what I think is the better coach and the better quarterback.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just I know this defense is going to cause problems for Mahomes. I think Mahomes will eventually be able to overcome them in the third, fourth quarter. I mean, they didn't look good in the first half of this game either, but he started to find Travis Kelce, kind of work his way back through the second half. I see that happening here. I don't see it being a blowout at all. I think it's going to be like you're going to watch the first half and you're going to think, oh, everybody that took the under is very, very smart.
I was just about to say a bonus
blow
bet
up in the second half.
Yep, I was just about to say it's not going to be in our bets on a budget, but a bonus bet here is under 48. I think that's money in the bank.
And if you can get an under by half and kind of parlay that with something, that would be good too.
All right, let's go with the Seahawks at the Chargers. We're both going to go with the Chargers here. I think the Seahawks have overperformed thus far.
Yeah. But
going on the road to LA. Justin Herbert should be getting Keenan Allen back. We'll see. I want to say it was Bosa might have been out with like an illness or something like that. They had a couple guys out who was like sick. So, they're going to get healthier.
Yeah, and quickly.
Yeah, and very, very quickly. So I think the Chargers are a much better roster. Now plus 6.5 for Seattle, that's something to keep around. But I think the Chargers outright winning is the side here.
100% agree. I'm riding J. Herb.
All right, Colts at the Titans. So we went back and forth. I was thinking maybe the Colts. I ended up switching to the Titans because I think off a bye, really good, solid coaches, which I think Mike Vrabel is a good coach. Again, fantastic off a bye. So I think coming off a bye, his numbers are, I want to say he's got like 1 loss off a bye in his career out of 4 years or 5 years he's been coaching. So I think the Titans off a bye is the side here. They're going to run the football. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be fresher. It was kind of a long, knockout type of fight with the Colts and the Jags going right down to the wire. Sure. So I think the more rested team off a bye gets the dub here.
I like that.
Browns at the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens are a much better roster. They're a much better team. They have a better coach, better quarterback, better roster all around. So the Ravens.
Yeah. have Lamar Jackson, and you can't replace that or find that anywhere else in the NFL. So.
Right. All right, Lions at the Cowboys. I was thinking maybe the Lions, but Jared Goff never winning a game on the road as the Lions quarterback. Can you really put money on that?
No. I tried to. It didn't work.
I can't bet on it. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, it burned you once. You're not letting that happen. You're taking the Cowboys.
I don't even
I'll
like
go
the
with
Cowboys,
the Cowboys.
but
I think they're a safe pick. I'm
it's
up by 2. You know what I mean? I we gotta
you try to preserve
hold
the lead.
on a little bit.
Just kind of run the ball, let the clock
We're
run
gonna,
down.
Ramondre Stevenson, zone power. All right, Jets at the Broncos. We're split on this one. So here's what's crazy. I'm normally really high on the Broncos and mostly Russell Wilson, and then you've kind of been, the voice of skepticism in that direction. Here, though, you're going to take the Broncos. I'll flip around and take the Jets. I think the defense of the Jets, the defensive line, specifically against a banged-up Denver front, is going to be a problem. I'll go with the Jets. It's crazy, but I'm buying in. I'm taking the Jets.
I like the Jets, and I like what they have going on there, and I like Robert Saleh, but I don't think they're at the level where they need to be able to pull this one out against a Denver. And I don't even like Denver, but it's just one of those. This game's so 50-50.
It is 50-50. But you're telling me, so they went on the road and beat Green Bay in Green Bay. You think do you think the Broncos a harder matchup than that? It is in Mile High, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think climate-wise, or I guess,
elevation.
Breathing, it could be, yeah. But,
the basic function.
From a team standpoint, I mean, I don't think.
I don't know. I just like Denver here. I just don't think that. I don't think the Jets are at the point yet where they can really sustain the types of things that they pulled off last week. Like, you need to be able to come up with 2 defensive touchdowns to match that. And I don't think that happens every single week.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Russell Wilson doesn't seem to throw picks. He might be inaccurate, and his completion percentage might be a little bit low this year, but they're not resulting in interceptions.
That's a fair point. I mean, the Jets did throw for under 100 yards, so I guess it makes sense. I'll go with the Jets. We'll go with the Broncos. All right, Texans at the Raiders. We're both going to take the Raiders here. I like the quarterback better. I like the weapons better. I guess barely I like the defense. I don't know about the defense. I like the coach better, though, I guess. He's offensive.
I don't like either of the teams.
Yeah, they're both bad. So I'll go with the Raiders, the lesser of 2 evils. I feel better putting putting it on the line with Derek Carr than I do Davis Mills. So
100%.
Steelers at the Dolphins. You're going to go ahead and take the Steelers. They have a lot of trouble in Miami historically. Now, in prime time, they're a little bit better down there, but just in Miami in general, over time, they've been really, really bad. So I'm going to roll with Miami. I know I'm a naysayer. Plus, if Mitch Trubisky plays, that's tough.
I don't like Mitch Trubisky starting a game.
But he might. So I'll go with Miami.
Okay, I'm going with the Steelers. I wish I could put a contingency on it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to be that guy. But I mean, if Kenny Pickett's starting, I like the chances for the Steelers. I do.
That's fair. Look, I think he does start. I'll throw that out there.
Yes. If Mitch is starting a game, you're in a tough spot because it's not his coming in halfway through and just kind of just making the plays that you have to, being safe with the football, not making any stupid mistakes. That's fine for a half or a quarter here and there.
Not super sustainable.
But when you're starting him and you have to rely on his game management skills,
and they game plan all week for him too, as opposed to game planning for Kenny Pickett and then getting Mitch Trubisky. So
yeah, I don't know. I like the Steelers. I feel like they have some pieces on offense, and I feel like Kenny Pickett at least can get the ball to them. When Mitch seems to struggle to do that over the course of a game.
Right. I mean, you see that with George Pickens, targets and catches. So I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Bears at the Patriots here on the Monday night game to wrap up our predictions. We'll both take the Patriots. The Bears offense. I mean, you know what Belichick does to young quarterbacks. It's just not going to be pretty for Justin Fields.
He's going to crush Justin Fields.
That's a tough spot for the Bears. So we're split. I'll take Miami. You'll take the Steelers. I'll take the Jets. You'll take the Broncos. And I'll take the Saints, and you'll take the Cardinals. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm 4-2, looking to go 5-2. You're looking to bring the lead within 1. Should be an interesting week, and we are also trying to get back on track with bets on a budget. So let's get into that. We're going to get back on track finally here. So let's start with Tampa Bay minus 10.5 at Carolina. So Carolina sucks.
It's really, really bad.
The quarterback situation isn't good. Their defense isn't very good. C-Mac's okay, and that's about the only thing that they have going for them. They just traded one of their top receivers, who still wasn't a great receiver, but was one of their top receivers. So, and Tampa Bay and Tom Brady off a loss has been very, very good, and I think will be very, very good again. I think that's like a 27-7 type of game.
It's going to be a blowout.
Yeah. All right, how about Atlanta +6 at Cincinnati? Atlanta's 6-0 against the spread.
Okay, so you're just blindly playing the numbers here, or do you see something here that you like? Do you like Atlanta to keep it close with Cincy?
I do like Atlanta to keep it close with Cincy because I think they can run the football and kind of play a little bit of keep away.
Okay.
And I know Cincy's got a decent defensive line, but I think Atlanta and what Mariota can do with his legs primarily is going to be able to extend some drives, keep Joe Burrow off the field a little bit. And yes, Atlanta's 6-0 against the spread. They're playing the numbers here.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I like that. There's the average NFL game's decided by 4 points. So
there you go. All right, how about the Giants?
There too.
The Giants +3 at Jacksonville. So here's the thing, and I like Doug Peterson, but so far Brian Daboll has been a very, very good head coach. Very good, which means they're going to be competitive in every game they play. They're going to keep it close. Plus, last time I bet against them, I bet, Baltimore -5.5 this past week.
They covered. And
they won. They covered and won. And Jacksonville's defensive line is good, but they're dealing with a couple injuries, and their offensive line isn't very good.
Yeah.
So I think
kind of a recipe for disaster there.
Kayvon Thibodeau, Leonard Williams up the middle for the Giants. They're going to be able to, kind of limit what they can do offensively for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
All right. So we're split on this one in our predictions, so I guess maybe this is just me talking here. The Jets +1.5 at Denver. So, again, unless you think Denver's winning by a point.
No.
But, yeah. So, but here's the thing. The Jets, they can run the football, and they have to run the football because Zach Wilson only had, 99 yards passing. So that is a bit of a concern because he's not super dynamic throwing the ball.
So, yeah.
But that's a tough secondary to throw on in Denver. So I don't think it's that big of an issue because they probably weren't going to be able to put up points anyway through the air. So they're going to have to run the football. And they can run the football. And Denver, that's where you can get them, up the middle.
Hey, look, I'm trying to make some money. Sometimes I bet against what I predict. So this will be one where,
That way it's a win-win.
And plus, it's probably pretty good odds to win you at least some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. Especially being on the road in Mile High. It's going to be a test for the young team, but I think they're up to it. The momentum's moving in that direction. I'll go with the Jets. +1.5.
Broncos to win, though.
All right, we'll see.
I'm telling you, you're going to be wearing the tiara next week. I need it.
Doubtful. Let's go New England -8 at home versus Chicago. Look, we know what Bill Belichick does against young quarterbacks. And Justin Fields, at one point, I think going into Week 6, he had 49 completions in 5 games. That is just so bad.
That's poor. That's really bad.
I don't know if it's play calling or if it's him or it's probably a little bit of both. The truth lies somewhere in the middle, like I always say. But that is so. And here's the thing about Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, right? Within the structure of the offense, they're fine. The problem is when Mac starts turning the ball over, and Bailey Zappi hasn't been doing that so far.
He's been kind of mistake free, yeah.
He's made a couple mistakes, but they haven't been in critical moments, and that's when you'd prefer it, right? Yep.
You imagine with Belichick, he's going to understand those moments and kind of scale things back when he needs to.
Right, and he's done a very, very good job. And here's the thing, at Western Kentucky, he was a pretty solid quarterback. He put up major stats. He broke the record for most passing touchdowns in a season, I want to say. I think Joe Burrow ended up beating it. But regardless, I know he put up record numbers at Western Kentucky. Or no, maybe he beat Joe Burrow's. One of the two. He's up there in the top 2 with Burrow for the most touchdowns in a season. So he can sling the rock. Absolutely, he can sling the rock. Big arm, pretty accurate, and he's mobile enough. They call it. I think Trent Dilfer called it like functional quarterback movement. Right? He's not Lamar. He's not Kyler. But he'll wiggle in the pocket. Like Brady is the king of this, fun. Right? Yeah. Brady will step up. He'll manipulate the pocket. I think Zappi can do that a little bit. And I'm not comparing him by any means, but that type of movement, right? A little bit in the pocket. You don't have to be an insane athlete. Can you get out on the edge a little bit, throw on the run? That's about it. Yeah. So
hey, WKU, they produce their quarterback.
Western Kentucky, there you go. So to run back through, we got Tampa at -10.5 at Carolina, Atlanta +6 at Cincinnati, the Giants +3 at Jacksonville, the Jets +1.5 at Denver, and finally the Patriots -8 at home versus Chicago. Those are the bets of the week for us, and the lock of the week is New England. So.
Yeah, I like that one. Either way, that's all we have for you guys today. So make sure you're going to check out the social media. Instagram at _issue podcast, TikTok, the issue_podcast. All those links can be found in the link tree in the description of the episode. Also, go check out the issuesports.com. Bunch of videos, just news from the show, everything going on over there. So go check that out. Bookmark it, save it, know it, because we're gonna have a lot of big announcements to follow with it. But guys, thanks for hanging out, and that was The Issue.